We'd like to give a special shout out to the following people for making this episode and the rest of Act 3 possible. Louis, Malaya, Reg, Daniel Athern, Ostrakim, Vanna, Finch, Dr. Dan Venning, Sleepless Berry, Court, Rogue Canoe, John and Muna, Sadie, Zay the Great, Elliot Kane, and Trident. Thank you for your support. Maraming salamat. You're listening to Hainai by Motsi Dapo. Episode 78. Payaso.
Right, so am I supposed to include the cop? It's kind of part of the story, but I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that. Sorry, I'm just not sure if I should keep it under wraps or whatever. But I guess I can just end it on the... Yeah. Okay. So there's this kid that I babysit, right? Good kid. So fun to hang out with. Still really young, but whip smart, creative, and honestly, I'm pretty sure he could keep himself entertained if he had to. But his parents had the right idea, 'cause he would be really lonely if it was just him, you know? I've been watching him on and off for a couple of years now, from when he was a toddler to the ripe age of 5. He's the kind of kid who can make friends, but can be a bit assertive, so he does get a bit lonely when he doesn't vibe with the other kids at school. This year, 2 of his little buddies went to Europe to visit family, so his parents had me spend time with the little guy after they got back from a short trip. Every day, he got to regale me with tales of his newfound obsession. Clowns. Listen, clowns freak me the hell out. It's not like having a panic attack inducing phobia or whatever for me, or at least it wasn't, but I just don't like them. If there's a clown involved, I'm noping out of there. But obviously, I wasn't going to trauma dump my hatred for clowns on a 5-year-old that loves them, so I just kept that to myself and read him the books his parents got him on the trip about all these different types of clowns and their names. His favorite was the sad clown, the Pierrot, but he kept pronouncing it Pierrot, like parrot without the T. He thought it was pretty clever, especially after he started drawing himself his own little Pierrot, with very non-traditional parrot colors instead of the usual black and white. Pierrot the clown became his favorite imaginary friend. When I took him on the streetcar for pastries at my favorite cafe, he asked if Pierrot could come along. When we played in the park, he'd throw the ball in Pierrot's direction and keep telling him to throw it back like he was trying to train a dog. When we went to the arcade, he said Pierrot was better at the retro games than he was. It was kind of cute. He said Pierrot didn't have to be sad anymore, even if his drawings all still had the clown man's downturned lips. His little Pierrot drawings and the drawings in the book didn't freak me out as much as your average clown, so it was fine for a while. Plus, it's easy to make a kid happy when he has a special interest, so I knew exactly where to go for his birthday gift when his 6th came around. There's this freaky circus-themed vintage clothing store on College that I kept passing on my way to his house. It caught my eye because there are all these creepy clowns and dolls all over the shop. Last time I went, there was literally a cursed-looking Raggedy Ann sitting on the shelf, like Annabelle, the cursed doll in the movie. It was originally a Raggedy Ann doll, not porcelain-faced nightmare fuel. But at least Raggedy Ann didn't trigger my fight or flight the way the clowns hanging from the ceiling did, leaning down like they're interested in everyone walking through the door. They've got mannequins all over too, posed like they're staff behind the counter. Mannequin arms decorating the walls, mannequin legs doing poses on high shelves. Creepy-ass store. Kind of cool, though. I knew they'd have what I needed. I got my kid a little vintage Pierrot figurine. Not as colorful as his friend Pierrot the clown, but I figured I could make it a little fun summer day activity of putting down a bunch of newspapers and painting him together. I was told by the detective that's probably what set it off. Said the weird stuff happens with a lot of vintage things. Stuff that's cursed. I don't know if that makes sense because that toy sat in the vintage store without doing anything for ages. I wonder if something in the house made it go crazy, I wonder if... Okay, so... My kid loved the figurine I got. Put it on his shelf until we could paint it together, and after that I started seeing things. Or thought I was seeing things. I guess they were real, but it's hard to believe something's real when your brain can't process what the hell it's seeing at first. Because, it doesn't make any sense for a clown to be standing in the middle of a park. Alone. At night. I first noticed it when I was heading home after I put the kid to bed, and his parents finally got home from dinner close to midnight. I usually take the streetcar, but there's a whole stretch of road it doesn't pass through. A 10-minute walk where I'm relying on porch lights of houses without a single street light until I hit the park. It's a cute place in the morning, but with the streetlights at night, the entire thing is pitch black other than the light that splashes across the grass. And right on the edge of that light, I saw what looked like a clown. Or a mime? It didn't look smiling or colorful. I couldn't see much in the dark, so my mind might have cobbled together something that made sense, and from what I recall, I think it was covering its face. Like it was crying, or the person. If it was a person, I don't know. I figured it was my imagination playing tricks on me, since I couldn't see it too well with the glare of the streetlight shining down on me. So I just kept walking until I got home. And while I was getting ready for bed, I looked out the window and I saw the same shape across the road in the neighbor's garden. This time there was a color, the same color as the flowers. That place was always full of junk, stuff my neighbors never threw away, overgrown by their flowering bushes. It seemed like someone was crumpled up amongst the old furniture and smattering of objects I couldn't quite identify. It could have been an optical illusion, I thought. There was no reason to think otherwise, especially when I had clowns on the brain. Until I started seeing them in the daytime, too. I was walking down the street, and I thought I saw something white peeking out from beneath a distant hedge. I could see black spots, black painted eyes, and a black ink frown. But around the black there were these red stains, like flowers on a bush, like blood on lips. I stopped there for a while. It felt like everything had gone silent. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was looking at. It was like I was in a trance, only broken out of it when I got a text asking for my ETA from my kid's parents. When I finally looked back up, there was nothing there. Nothing behind the hedge. Which scared me more because that meant there was something actually there. And it could move. I wasn't fully paying attention when I was spending time with the kid that day, until he started saying I should be calm by or hearken. I remember from the clown book he was talking about these characters from the play Pierrot was in, Columbine and Harlequin. I said I could be Columbine or Combi, with the pretty frills, and he agreed because I was pretty, and started drawing himself as Harlequin. Harkin. Did a good job with the little black diamonds on the outfit. Even drew the black mask, which was a little unsettling. Imagine this melting, waxy black mask that makes a tortured face. But as long as he wasn't scared of it, I didn't have to worry. I mean, of course, that wasn't how it turned out. I ended up having to look at that tortured, waxy, melting black face exactly where I didn't want to see it. His parents asked me to stay over a couple of nights, to sleep in the guest room because they had an important trip for the weekend. I think I fell asleep on the couch, but I woke up in a different place. I was on stage. I don't know where, how, or why. I looked down and saw ruffles around my neck, a skirt around my waist. I thought it might have been a dream, but it felt so real, and I'd never dreamt anything that vividly before. When I looked up, I wanted to scream. I wish I could scream, but I couldn't. Like my brain had no control over my body, over my face was a black mask melting before my eyes into a grotesque, laughing grin. The black mask melted and melted until it started pouring into my mouth, and I still couldn't scream, and I was choking, and I looked to the very edge of my periphery, and I saw him there again. He was utterly silent. But he was sobbing, and the red on his black and white clothes and skin, the parrot colors shined, fresh like blood.
They're in the house. The cabin. The cabin that was not left standing after the long winter burned it down. After the benefactor found Thompson flayed and crucified before its husk. They don't know there is no cabin there anymore. But they see it, clear as day. They enter the wooden door. They feel the shiver of fear, but they think it's the same one they feel every time they trespass upon a threshold that does not know them, that they do not know. They don't know, just as the benefactor did not know, what Thompson buried under that cabin, under the basement where the benefactor saw his true name written in blood. Gallons of blood painted those walls. Not Thompson's blood, of course. Not entirely. He did not know what sacrifice meant, and did not spill his own precious blue blood when he could spill his captured sacrifices. He mixed barely more than was necessary to mark him, so that, should his spell work, the benefactor's power would go to him. He was never able to activate that spell, but the benefactor did not realize, in his rush to depart, what Thompson buried under that place. Foci. For how many did Thompson kill, afraid, in that basement? How many foci did he bury under that cabin? And how long shall these hapless visitors stay, feeling the fear creep up on them, until all of those foci latch on?
You're listening to Hainai by Motsi Dapul.
Hey everyone, it's Motsi, creator and showrunner of the Hainai podcast. Hainai is a podcast produced by Motsi Dapul, Yoey Halago, and Alyssa Jimenez, and licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 International License.
This episode was co-produced by Jesse Goodsell and written and directed by Motsi Dapul. The role of Other Mary is played by Motsi Dapul, and the role of the babysitter is played by Tatiana Gefter.
If you'd like to chat with other listeners when this episode goes live, we do a live premiere every Sunday at 9 p.m. ET or Toronto time on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HainaiPod. To help support the production of Hainai, you can subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/HainaiPod. You'll get to be part of our early access program, where we release episodes 3 days early on Thursday at 9 p.m. ET or Toronto time. You can also get bonus video, audio, art, and much more. Speaking of Patreon, we'd love to give a special shout-out to the following patrons for all their amazing support.
Maha, Nikki Green, Cy B.A., Emily C., Lauren Morton, Prinks Variety, Didi Chanak, Chandra, Tony Baloney, Nay, Boyo, Phoenix Luna, Kate Jordan, Tiana Harvey, Sabine, Ben, DC Squirrel, Jess No, Nanette Dapple, Mika, Matt Upton, Anna, Sooks, Becca Terrier, Melissa, Emma H., Faye Fungi, Pablo Neurotic, Oster Kim, Megan, Jessie Goodsell, Malaya Light, and Victoria Goodwin.
Thank you for all your support. If you subscribe at the ATE tier or the $10 tier and above, you get bonus episodes, bonus content, the full B-sides, and you get your name shouted out on every episode in the credits, just like our wonderful supporters here. If you can't subscribe monthly, you have the option to buy us a milk tea on Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/HiNaiPod. Our ad-free Hainai album, which has our official music and full episodes from Act 1 and 2, is also available for both patrons and to purchase on our coffee shop. Check out our website, HiNaiPod.com, for more info, and follow us on all our socials, on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky, and even our YouTube posts, at HiNaiPod, for updates and more information, especially when we have special events. And as always, thank you, we love you, and hanggang sa muli.